Who's there?
Okay, man, just chill, all right? Look, I was wasted and I wandered in, so that was my bad, all right? So I'm just gonna leave, okay? Stay right there. Don't you move. Yeah, that's right. I know what's in there, and I ain't leaving without it. You got me? Now you do as I say, all right? Well, do you hear me or what? I said stop. Don't you move. What are you gonna do now, huh? Huh? Stop!
How many of you are there?
On the set. This is Michael Faulkner, and it is showtime at the August 23rd, 2016 edition of the Weekly Podioplex, brought to you on the Chronic Rift Network. This week's birthdays include Hayden Panettiere of Heroes, Melissa McCarthy and Kristen Wiig from Ghostbusters, Barbara Eden, the genie that everyone dreams of, Rupert Grint, Ron from Harry Potter, the original theatrical James Bond, Sean Connery, Chris Captain Kirk Pine, and Paul Pee Wee Herman Rubens. Starting at the box office report, it was a three-peat weekend for the bad guys. At number 10 is Florence Foster Jenkins, down 2 from 8. At number 9 is The Secret Life of Pets, down 3 from 6th. At 8 is Bad Moms, down 3 from 5th. In 7th is Jason Bourne, down 3 from 4th. And finishing off this week's bottom 5 is new release Ben-Hur, Crashing the Chariot, with $11.2 million. With a budget of $100 million, this is a disaster for Paramount and MGM. The opening weekend audiences were mostly women over the age of 25, and they approved with an A- cinema score. Critics destroyed it with a 29%. Ben-Hur made nearly as much internationally as it did at home, pulling in $10.7 million from 23 markets, including Mexico and Brazil. It will continue to expand worldwide through January, but its domestic chances are pretty slim. The top 5 this week begin with Pete's Dragon, down 2 from 3rd with $11.3 million, added to a total of $42.9 million. In 4th place is new release Kubo and the Two Strings, earning $12.6 million. And that's the lowest opening for any of the Laika studio library, including The Box Trolls, Coraline, Paranorman, and Tim Burton's Corpse Bride. It received a strong A cinema score from audiences and a powerful 96% rating from critics, so word of mouth may propel this film upward during the typically slow Labor Day weekend. In 3rd place is new release War Dog, running up a tally of $14.7 million. Audiences were mostly men under the age of 35, and they weren't impressed. Their B cinema score matches well with the 59% rating from critics. From here, there is no movement on the charts. In 2nd is Sausage Party, earning another $15.5 million for a total of $65.5 million. And in 1st this week for a box office turkey is Suicide Squad, adding $20.9 million to a 3-week total of $262.4 million. That places the squad at 5th all-time for DC Comics films, behind the 2 typical silver screen heroes, The Dark Knight, The Dark Knight Rises, Dawn of Justice, and Man of Steel are leading that pack. The numbers overall this week can be a bit deceptive. This week's top 12 are lower than last week's, dropping 25% overall, but it's actually up 30% over this time last year. Let's close out the box office report with a look at what's winning in years gone by. 5 years ago in 2011, The Help took number 1 for a second week with $14.5 million. 10 years ago in 2006, Invincible won the weekend with $17 million. 30 years ago in 1996, The Island of Dr. Moreau was the winner with $9.1 million. 30 years ago, in 1986, The Fly took the title for a second week with $4.7 million. And 40 years ago, in 1976, The Shootist took the box office crown with $5.3 million. The box office premieres for August 26th are still trying to stop Harley and the gang, this time with a plate of R-rated fare, starting with this week's headliner, Don't Breathe. A horror thriller starring Stephen Lang, Jane Levy, and Dylan Minnette.
At least 4 blocks around, houses aren't occupied. No people means no 501 patrol. It's gonna be a piece of cake. The guy's the shut-in hasn't left his house in like 5 days. I say we do it with him in the house. I'll get a chlorobomb.
Jesus!
Get out my car, Doc! Yeah, that's her guy.
Wait, is he blind?
He lost his sight in Iraq or something.
That's kind of messed up to rob a blind guy, isn't it?
Just because he's blind don't mean he's insane, bro. We do this tonight.
A group of friends break into the house of a wealthy blind man, thinking they'll get away with the perfect heist. Spoiler alert, they're wrong. Don't Breathe is rated R. The second title is Mechanic Resurrection, an action crime thriller starring Jason Statham, Jessica Alba, and Tommy Lee Jones.
What's going on?
Gina Thornton, American. That's she, right?
Yeah?
You're the second woman who has my picture in her phone. First was working for a guy called Crane. Name ring a bell?
The only thing you got right was my name.
First woman was a messenger. That what you are? So what's the message?
I already told you.
Tell me about Crane. What are you supposed to do for him? Where is he?
Arthur Bishop thought he had put his murderous past behind him when his most formidable foe kidnaps the love of his life. Now he is forced to travel the globe to complete 3 impossible assassinations and do what he does best, make them look like accidents. I'm telling you, when you need someone to deliver a good strong kick to the face, you hire Jason Statham. Mechanic Resurrection is rated R. And the third wide release is Hands of Stone, a sports drama starring Edgar Ramirez, Usher Raymond, and Robert De Niro.
You're my father, man. You're the only one I have.
Listen, I can't. I'm done with it. And it has nothing to do with you. We're talking about me now. I'm old. I'm tired. You don't need me. You never really did. You're a naturally great fighter. You have great fighter's instincts. I was just there to support you.
That's not true.
I need you in my corner, Ray.
Not anymore, you don't. You're an adult now. You have children of your own. You don't need a father. You need somebody to bring the street back into you. Talk to Plomo.
Oh.
He knows you better than anybody. He's been with you from the beginning. I'll help you get a fight. I'll be watching you all the time, but get Plomo to bring you back. That's who you need.
Okay.
And please, always remember, the American you're talking to now, he gave you the best years of his life.
The legendary Roberto Duran and his equally legendary trainer Ray Arcel change each other's lives. Hands of Stone is rated R. There are 8 titles on this week's limited slate, and you can find all of those in the show notes. Next up is a look at the home entertainment slate for the week of August 23rd, and it's a week that's light on movies, but heavy on TV. I'll start with new releases on DVD and Blu-ray, and that list begins with The Huntsman, Winter's War, a fantasy adventure drama starring Chris Hemsworth, Charlize Theron, and Jessica Chastain. As 2 evil sisters prepare to conquer the land, 2 renegades, Eric the Huntsman, who previously aided Snow White in defeating Ravenna, and his former lover, Sarah, set out to stop them. The Huntsman, Winter's War is rated PG-13. The second title is Ratchet and Clank, an animated comedy starring James Arnold Taylor, David Kay, and Jim Ward. Ratchet and Clank tells the story of two unlikely heroes as they struggle to stop a vile alien named Chairman Drek from destroying every planet in the Solana galaxy. When the two stumble upon a dangerous weapon capable of destroying entire planets, they must join forces with a team of colorful heroes called the Galactic Rangers in order to save the galaxy. Along the way, they'll learn about heroism, friendship, and the importance of discovering one's own identity. Ratchet and Clank is rated PG. The third title is Roots, a television miniseries starring Malachi Kirby, Forrest Whitaker, and Lawrence Fishburne. This is a historical portrait that recounts one family's struggle to resist the institution of American slavery as they carry on the legacy of Kunta Kinte, despite enormous hardship and inhumanity. This is based on Alex Haley's best-selling novel. Roots is not rated. Swinging by new releases on digital video, we start with The Jungle Book, an adventure drama starring Scarlett Johansson, Idris Elba, and Ben Kingsley. In this live-action remake of the Disney classic, an orphan boy is raised in the jungle with the help of a pack of wolves, a bear, and a black panther. The Jungle Book is rated PG. The second title is The Duel, a Western drama starring Woody Harrelson, Liam Hemsworth, and Emery Cohen. A Texas Ranger investigates a series of unexplained deaths in a town called Helena. The Duel is rated R. Moving right along to TV on DVD and Blu-ray, we start things there with The Walking Dead, Season 6 from 2015, starring Andrew Lincoln, Norman Reedus, and Stephen Yen. Season 6 starts with Alexandria's safety shattered by multiple threats. To make it, the people of Alexandria will need to catch up with our survivors' hardness, while many of Rick's people will need to take a step back from the violence and pragmatism they've needed to embrace. These reversals won't happen easily or without conflict, but now Rick's group is fighting for something more than survival. They're fighting for their home, and they will defend that at any cost, against any threat, even if that threat comes from within. The second TV title this week is Ash vs. Evil Dead, Season 1 from 2015, starring Bruce Campbell, Ray Santiago, and Dana DeLorenzo. Ash vs. Evil Dead, a 10-episode, half-hour series, is the long-awaited follow-up to the classic horror film franchise, The Evil Dead. The series follows Ash, the stock boy, aging Lothario, and chainsaw-handed monster hunter, who has spent the last 30 years avoiding responsibility, maturity, and the terrors of the Evil Dead. When a deadite plague threatens to destroy all of mankind, Ash is finally forced to face his demons, personal and literal. Destiny, it turns out, has no plans to release the unlikely hero from its evil grip. Number 3 on the list is DC's Legends of Tomorrow, Season 1 from 2015, starring Victor Garber, Brandon Routh, and Katie Lotz. When heroes alone are not enough, the world needs legends. Having seen the future, traveling rogue Rip Hunter assembles a disparate group of both heroes and villains to confront the unstoppable threat of the immortal Vandal Savage, a threat which not only puts the planet at stake, but all of time itself. From the creators of The Flash and Arrow comes this superhero team-up that combines characters from both shows, in addition to new heroes from the DC Comics pantheon. The fourth title is The Strain, Season 2 from 2015, starring Corey Stoll, David Bradley, and Kevin Durand. The mysterious epidemic transforming the citizens of New York into horrifying creatures continues to rage during the second terrifying season of this acclaimed horror series. While doctors Ephraim Goodweather and Nora Martinez race to create a biological weapon to destroy the creatures, Abraham Setrekian relentlessly searches for an ancient book that may hold the key to defeating the sinister Master.
There are two kinds of folks who sit around thinking about how to kill people: psychopaths and mystery writers. I'm the kind that pays better. Who am I? I'm Rick Castle. Castle. I really am ruggedly handsome, aren't I? Every writer needs inspiration, and I've found mine.
Detective Kate Beckett. Nikki Heath. The character he's basing on you.
And thanks to my friendship with the mayor, I get to be on her case. I'd be happy to let you spank me. And together we catch killers. Make a pretty good team, you know, like Starsky and Hutch, Turner and Hooch.
You do remind me a little of Hooch.
To A Hard Fate to Black, musical sting. Bow.
Fifth on our list is Castle, Season 8 from 2015, starring Nathan Fillion, Stanek Haddock, and Susan Sullivan. Their fiery love affair has kept your pulse pounding week after week for the past 8 seasons, and now the heartfelt final chapter of Rick Castle and Kate Beckett comes to an end, as one of the most beloved couples in television history match wits with their ultimate rival in a fight that will define their future. The season begins with a bang as a call from a mysterious stranger puts Beckett on the run and sets off an explosive chain of events. The action heats up when Castle's daughter Alexis joins her father to solve the case of a lifetime. Fresh faces and unforgettable characters from the past join the precinct in a year full of devastating twists and turns, and it all leads to the stunning series finale that will keep you on the edge of your seat and close the book on the incredible story of Castle and Beckett. Number 6 on our list is Elementary, Season 4 from 2015, starring Johnny Lee Miller, Lucy Liu, and John Michael Hill. The investigation turns inward in Elementary, the 4th season, as Sherlock Holmes and Dr. Joan Watson reignite their unique chemistry, a relationship that allows them to solve an increasingly complex series of crimes in the Big Apple. But the worm in the apple makes itself known when Sherlock's father, Moreland Holmes, arrives in New York City to live full-time. His apparent concern with his son's increasingly intense behavior and addiction relapse does nothing to temper Sherlock's suspicions and mistrust regarding his arrival. The 7th TV title is Scandal, Season 5 from 2015, starring Kerry Washington, Scott Foley, and Darby Stanchfield. The Oval Office is up for grabs, and none of the players are playing nice, including Olivia Pope, who now realizes she can never be content as wifely First Lady. Domestic bliss pales in comparison with holding the reins of the highest office in the land, so when faced with a chance to wield unrivaled influence at any cost, will she continue to wear the white hat, or prove that she is, indeed, her father's daughter? Prepare for a battle royale as Olivia, the White House politicians, and the OPA gladiators play an anything-goes game of blackmail, murder, and seduction in a bid for that all-consuming, all-corrupting commodity, power. And finally, our 8th title this week is NCIS Season 13 from 2015, starring Mark Harmon, Michael Weatherly, and Polly Perrette. In Season 13 of the hit series NCIS, the missions turn personal when a hostage situation traps one of their own. New evidence calls the unit's conclusions into question, and a threat from the past targets the team and their allies. Yet even when the danger hits close to home, Special Agent Jethro Gibbs knows he can count on a supremely skilled team to cope with the crises that affect U.S. military personnel and national security. As the stakes rise higher than ever, Special Agent Anthony Donazio makes his final exit in the unforgettable conclusion. I'll wrap up the home entertainment slate with Blu-rays from the past, and this week I bring you one title. That's The Woman in the Dunes, a drama from 1964 coming to the Criterion Collection starring Eiji Okada, Kyoko Kishida, and Koji Mitsui. An entomologist searching for insects by the seaside is trapped by local villagers into living with a widow whose life task is digging up sand for them, and eventually develops strong feelings for her. The Woman in the Dunes is not rated. Don't go anywhere, because after this brief break for About a Shameless podcast cross-promotion, the Weekly Podioplex will continue.
My name is Karen Lindsay.
I got sucked into Farscape.
Lou bugged me till I watched.
Now I'm obsessed.
We podcast together
To guide new viewers.
so they also get hooked.
Maybe as much as me.
1 episode per podcast.
I would love the company.
Both good and bad.
Jeremiah Creighton.
Lou thinks this will stop me,
I can't stop rewatching them.
but he's mistaken.
He should know me by now.
This will be awesome.
Talking about characters and stories.
These recordings are made for you.
To enjoy the wondrous things we've heard.
Cross my heart, smack me dead, stick a lobster on my head.
On the ground now!
Farewell, my friends, and thank you for teaching me to kill again.
Slicker and snot.
My microbes had to have translated that one wrongly.
This is insane, Craig. 4 years on and you're finally getting it.
Escapecast, your guide to the wonders of Farscape.
Listen to the Scaper Chronicles at scapecast.org.
And welcome back to the Weekly Podioplex. I'm Denise with your Quick Flicks. This week, we see Suicide Squad passing $500 million at the box office after only 2 weeks in theaters and a slew of negative critical reviews. With its totals sitting just shy of $510 million, the much-maligned movie stands to become the highest-grossing film ever at the August box office. To compare, Captain America's Civil War earned $494 million, while our favorite fourth-wall-breaking, gun-happy mercenary Deadpool raked in $256 million. On the DC side, Suicide Squad beat out The Dark Knight, which only earned $128 million, and Man of Steel, which earned $187 million. Apparently, audiences see something the critics don't. In other Suicide Squad news, Jared Leto will join Harrison Ford, Ryan Gosling, Robin Wright, and Mackenzie Davis as Hollywood revisits Philip K. Dick in Blade Runner 2, the highly anticipated sequel to the 1982 sci-fi hit. While major plot details have yet to be revealed, we do know the sequel will take place several decades after the original Ridley Scott film. Maybe this time Jared Leto will get a bigger part in the final cut. Also in DC, the CW is playing fast and loose and giving us a female version of an old villain on the new season of The Flash. Roscoe Dillon, also known as The Top, will not be played by a man, but instead the casting call went out and Ashley Rickards answered the call. Rumor has it that the Top's appearance is a guest star role, but one hopes this spells out a bigger change for the superhero universe as a whole. And with the way DC-verse is going, they need all the help they can get. In the Marvel universe, the Russo brothers are totally on board with a Squirrel Girl movie, and if Anna Kendrick and Twitter get their way, the little-known character may just see silver screen time. Though Miss Kendrick could see some competition for the role from Stranger Things' own Shannon Purser, who has voiced her own desire to play the role of Doreen Green. Anna Kendrick would bring star power to the role, but who can say no to Barb? Either way, we might get a Squirrel Girl movie. Also in Marvel news, Spidey is returning to his roots. Marvel Studios and Sony are currently hard at work filming their first ever team-up project, Spider-Man Homecoming, which marks the first solo movie for Spidey set in the place he always belonged, the Marvel Universe. This time around, Spidey will be spending most of his time in high school, and with the homecoming dance featured prominently in the movie, Yes, that sound you hear is the groan of what you thought the title meant and what it actually means. Old Peter Parker is gonna need someone to go with. If you were thinking Gwen Stacy, you were so very wrong. So very wrong. The Wrap is reporting Zendaya will be playing none other than Mary Jane Watson. Yes, you did hear a groan, and that groan is mine. While not the typical redheaded Mary Jane portrayed in the comics for the last 50 years, Zendaya will bring a welcome reinterpretation and change to an old character. Now, if we can just get Marvel to make a Spider-Gwen movie, maybe we can see someone else get bit by a radioactive bug for once. Taking a break from superheroes, The Lost Boys, the 1980s teen vampire horror movie, is getting made into a television series for the CW. Headed by Rob Thomas, creator of Veronica Mars and iZombie, the new show is sure to have plenty of snark and dark humor. What's more, Rob Thomas has a 7-season-long plan for the gang of vampires, and each season will be set in a different decade, something which has been tried on television but hasn't quite succeeded. According to Deadline, Season 1 will be set in 1967. Hippie vampires, anyone? And while the settings, human characters, and seasonal antagonists will change, the goal is to keep a central group of vampires as close to exactly the same as makeup will allow. Immortality, baby, it's a thing. There's no plan when The Lost Boys will show up on the CW, considering the recent announcement of its actuality, but here's hoping we won't be waiting too long for the vampires to come back. Undead and remakes are nothing new for Hollywood. With a premiere of the recently updated Ben-Hur just around the corner, Tinseltown is hinting at another update in the works. Instead of a story of biblical proportions, this one is more wolfish in nature. No other John Landis movie is more highly regarded or has a bigger cult following. That's right, An American Werewolf in London may be coming to a 40-foot screen near you, and none other than Max Landis, of the Victor Frankenstein vein, will be penning the remake script. He categorically denies any such thing on Twitter, but we all know the internet lies. Whether or not fans of the original movie will be happy about this is up in the air. The exciting thing will be to see what the son brings to the father's table for the next generation of viewers. And that's it for Quick Flicks. I'm Denise, and I'll see you next week on the Weekly Podioplex.
Thank you, Denise. With that, we come to the end of this week's edition of the Weekly Podioplex. If you want to discuss anything you heard on this week's edition, please take a moment to get in touch. You can surf on over to the brand new homepage at chronicrift.com and leave an audio message right there on the website using your microphone. Or you can write to weeklypodioplex@gmail.com. Of course, you can still tweet to us on Twitter. The Chronic Rift is chronic_rift. The Weekly Podioplex is Weekly Podioplex. Denise is Riley James Keith. And I am Womprat99, like the creature Luke would bullseye in his T-16 in Beggar's Canyon. You can give the Chronic Rift a thumbs up on Stitcher Radio, leave us a 5-star review on iTunes, and find the Weekly Podioplex and the Chronic Rift on Facebook and Google+. Take a moment, stop on by, and see what other shows the Chronic Rift Network has to offer. The main show is offered weekly with the Rift regulars, and you can listen live via YouTube or download the episode later in the feed. We also have Cyborgs, a Bionic podcast, the Batcave podcast, the OSI Files podcast, the G2V podcast, Generations Geek, presenting the transcription feature, the Dan and Travis Show, the Sci-Fi Diner podcast, and so much more. Check us out and find the culture in pop culture. If you're interested in more of my adventures, take a quick trip to my blog, Creative Criticality, where I'm watching every episode of Doctor Who for the first time from the very beginning of the franchise and reviewing those stories in the Timestamps Project. Right now, the blog is in the middle of the 13th season. I just posted the Android Invasion, one of the adventures of the 4th Doctor, and the link to those reviews can be found in the show notes. You can also find Creative Criticality on Facebook. Denise can also be found on the internet at Accessories Not Included, where she talks about her writing, reviews books, and offers her services as a cover designer. Check her out at accessoriesnotincluded.com. If you decide to pick up any of this week's new releases, why not do it through our Amazon store? You get the newest entertainment at Amazon's low prices and high-quality service, and each purchase you make to that store supports the Chronic Rift Network. Your support keeps us on the air, and we appreciate your consideration. Look for the links to our best bets and the network store in our show notes, or click the Amazon box on the website. The Weekly Podioplex is a Lucky Shot production and is produced by John S. Drew. On behalf of Denise and John, this is Michael Faulkner. Thanks for listening. Until next time, there are adventures and drama, comedy and action, worlds to explore in the depth of film. Get some popcorn, find your favorite seat, and I'll see you at the theater.
That's a wrap!